Hey everyone, Hanz here. Hope all of you are doing well. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about something that I call the Dark Sisterhood, as I did in my video of 10 recommendations for the women. And I guess I'm gonna lay out something a bit more. You see, the Dark Sisterhood, being anti-life, anti-nature, and thus anti-white, has quite a power hold on society, unfortunately. It has been allowed to drip its poison into the ears of young girls and young boys, as a matter of fact. And, well, I let you look at society and make of it what you want. But what I seem to be missing is a sisterhood of life. And a sisterhood of life does not necessarily come with a business card, it does not come with a uniform, it does not come with leaders, it comes with good women who want to bring life into this world and nourish it and strengthen it and instill it with wisdom and good food. Can't forget the good food. The Dark Sisterhood wants to spread the inverse of what it is to be a woman and call it, normalize it essentially. The Dark Sisterhood is upset. Yeah, it definitely is upset, but it is also obsessed with the maiden archetype, which is basically the blushing maid, the youthful maid. But like a vampire, it wants to steal the beauty and the youth of the maiden. The Dark Sisterhood hates, absolutely despises the mother archetype, and perhaps even more so, the crone archetype. These are the maiden, mother, and crone are the three stages that every woman goes through in her life, normally, at the very least. And the maiden, there's nothing. The maiden is a fine archetype. It's a good one, but it's to be understood as a stage in life, right? It's in Lord of the Rings. You see Eowyn being the maiden. She doesn't quite know what she wants. Didn't really have a mother of her own, so she has to figure out herself through emulating the men. She even goes into battle and does quite some kick-ass stuff, right? Together with Mary, by the way. Credit where due, right? You have Arwen, who is the mother, who, she's instilling into the man, especially in the movies, this is very well done. She's instilling into her man the the spirit that he needs to overcome and become a king. And then you have the crone, Galadriel. And it's not necessarily a hag or anything like, crooked nose, hunchback, broom that she uses to stir her pot, that sort of thing. Nothing like that at all. It's to impart gifts and wisdom and insight. And in the book there is a very beautiful scene of that where Galadriel and Aragorn are together, but I would say go check out that book. Check it out. Yeah. Good woman wants to work towards emulate, to embrace those three archetypes, to be fully rounded and healthy, I would say. I think that makes sense. There's a lot of other archetypes that she can embrace into that, but those three for women should be around in life, I think. The Dark Sisterhood, of course, wants the opposite of motherhood, want to prevent the birth of children, and if children are birthed, then they will be poisoning them in all kind of ways, emotionally hurting them, basically twist life into, well, orcs. Twist the young into orcs, as they themselves tend to be, if not outright ring rapes. What does that say? Can you tell already? I think many of you can. It's of course that they are anti-woman, they're misogynistic. They hate womanhood. They despise it, they want it destroyed, and that's why they practice the very inverse of it. Uh, you could even say that it is satanic. I do think that is what some of them, I believe, call themselves. It's, yeah, hideous. Absolutely hideous. But the thing is, if it is so obviously evil, how come that it is so successful? Because successful it is, right? In the long run it will fail, of course, because, well, they need to invite the they need to invite, as they are themselves, anti-whites from other parts of the world. Male anti-whites. Would you call it irony? No, because there's nothing ironic in following nature. It's just that they want to twist nature, and they are, well, they're not all up there. You know, they don't. They're not exactly sane, so they do not really consider what the long-term consequences are going to be necessarily. They're only interested in the sadism that they can mete out in the moment, as most evildoers tend to be. There's only there are some clever, very clever evildoers in the world who do concoct long-term plans and all of that, but nonetheless, you know, there's quite a few who are only interested in the moment. These anti-whites that they bring in, though, they do not prescribe to the Dark Sisterhood. They only see it as a useful tool. They see it as the Trojan horse that opens, well, through which the gates are opened, essentially. And Troy is in quite a pickle, isn't it? Nonetheless, these anti-whites that they bring in, many of them, as I said, don't prescribe to the Dark Sisterhood. And what do you think is going to happen there? Think again. Most of you will know what that's going to be like. Dark Sisterhood is going to be ran out, uh, maybe even before anything else. And in a certain sense, that is already happening, because the Dark Sisterhood has a lot of its participants, if you will, who have already met their end at the hand of the very anti-whites that they brought in. The Dark Sisterhood, in many ways, is turning on itself, and there is that as well. So it's not really, it's already falling apart in many ways. But that does not mean, I think, that good people should just stand by and watch. It is good to prepare to weather the storm. But I prefer that history will look kindly on good women, and it's not gonna happen unless good women, in a certain sense, or how shall I put it, that good women can activate the participants of the Sisterhood of Life. Let's put it like that. The Sisterhood of Life again. What do I mean by that? It's just women who want to bring life to the world and nourish it very well, right? Why? Because these anti-whites that I bring in are they have cultures where treating women in the most brutal and, again, sadistic ways is a norm. If good women cannot make uh, a shout out to the world and actively mm, build up, not a resistance, because resistances are reactive, no, just build up a sphere, if you will, where life is respected and nourished, and that there is room for the nuance in certain instances where life might be decrepit, life might be horrible for someone, what have you. That sort of, those kind of nuances that is kept in mind. Why is that? Is because a lot of good men right now are very confused, and they're going to join the ones that are going to oust the Dark Sisterhood, and then just stand by while a system is installed that will be brutal to white women too. Is that your fault, white woman? No, it isn't. If you're a good woman, at least, then it is not your fault. But if you cannot show, let me put it like this, if you cannot show to the world that there are good women who stand by their men, and not only their husband, not only their immediate family, but extended family, because you are really going to want more protection than only your husband. I know that there are ladies out there who think that that's enough. It's like, no, no. If those anti-whites have their system of brutalizing women as a by law even or what have you, if they can get it done, your husband or your father or both of them at the same time are not gonna be enough to stop it. It's not gonna happen. You need to look further than that. So again, what does that mean? What is wise to do? You do what, for example, our ancestors did. Bringing up an example from history, the Teutonic tribe and the Cimbri tribe came from Denmark, I think, and they moved towards Italy. They were looking for new land because the Danish population at the time, well, their tribal populations had grown too large. So parts of them had to go. Well, that's the story at any rate. Roman legionnaires wanted to stop them, and a battle was waged. The women were not sitting by checking their iPhones while the men were bashing in legionnaire skulls. Not a thing. The women were right there with them. But not in the front line. They were in the back lines, breastbared, screeching their lungs out. I've already spoken about this before. It's a very powerful image in my eyes. Or into my mind's eye at any rate. Because they are definitely in danger. If their men fail, they're done. They're gonna be enslaved and exposed to who knows what horror. Right? So, in a certain sense, if you want the West to be good to women, remain good to women, and yes, it has its parts in history where it went wrong, and I totally let you make up your mind how that happened. Might have something to do with influences from somewhere else, or maybe not. Whole point being, if you want the West to look kindly upon women, when the Dark Sisterhood is gone, there's going to be a vacuum. And that vacuum is not going to be filled by good women by default. It could be filled by anti-whites from other parts of the world, aided by good men that only saw women as evil, essentially, thinking that all women are part of the Dark Sisterhood. The solution should be very straightforward then, is that you need to show that there is a Sisterhood of Life. And this Sisterhood of Life needs to do even better what the Dark Sisterhood already does, which is screech their lungs out, whine, make sure that everything is done as they please, and everything that everything that is the Sisterhood of Life should say is like anything that is not congruent with nature, congruent with white well-being, what have you, is therefore evil and unacceptable in society. Anything that causes white erasure is potentially harmful to the young, and that should be unacceptable for a Sisterhood of Life. And that should go public. In the beginning, I'm not saying that you, as a single woman, should put yourself in any danger, physical danger or what have you. Do it in whatever way. If you prefer to be cunning, if you want to be straightforward, be straightforward. But if you want to be cunning, be cunning. You know, and do it better than this Dark Sisterhood, and you can, because you have the forces of life behind you. You have nature behind you. That is basically already a win. No matter however the fight is going to be, if there should be one. For every participant of the Dark Sisterhood, there should be a participant of the Sisterhood of Life that calls her out. The hatred of the Dark Sisterhood towards womanhood is something that the Sisterhood of Life, of course, should protect. And not in a defensive way, not in a reactionary way. You go out ahead. Like, you, as a good woman, should be talking about the sanctity of womanhood, of healthy womanhood, the protection that should lend to the children and the men also, in the specific ways that it has to. Before any darks, any one of the Dark Sisterhood has even known what's going on, what is about, take initiative. Because if too few Western men see it, there are going to be too few who are going to be your shield. And you can have 100, you can have 1,000 good men be your shield. But if it's 100,000 non-whites that they're standing again, well, in history we've seen that white guys who are fighting for the right cause, who are doing the right thing. Yeah, well, one word, thermoply, and quite a few other instances in history can be done. And I think a lot of good men are kind of itching for that as well. But why have that risk that it's going to falter because there are too few who saw that there are good women? Yeah. I think with that, I'm not saying that as to scare anyone. I'm saying that because this is a very likely thing to happen. And by extent, you now have that insight. All else is to be courageous. And do it with your own personal talents. Some of you good women have already started this a year ago, 2 years ago, bringing hope, giving life to where there was silence. Very good. And I'm very proud of you for what it is worth. Hanz is very proud of you. For those of you who have not yet considered this, or for those of you who are unsure, know that the anti-white is going to come forward. They are going to try to lay claim on the West. It's what they do. It's all they're interested in. It's going to happen. It's not an if, it is. Please then understand in what kind of a position that puts you. To stand by and let them do so, or to actively participate on behalf of life and standing up for your people. And when enough good women do that, we're gonna see a shift. I can promise you that already. Because a lot of good men, they are waiting also, in a sense. They are waiting until they have good women that they can knock on the door. It's like, hey, I see what you ladies are doing, and can I do something? Can I build you a house? Can I fix the engine of your car? Whatever. Can I stand in front of the door and make sure no nasties enter? It's going to happen, ladies. It really will. But you have to get loud. In a good, you have to go public at any rate, I would say, if you haven't already. And please, for the guys, I know many of you who listen to my videos already understand this, that there are good women who want to do the right thing, who want to bring life to this world and look after it. Very good. Try to encourage the women around you that you can. Talk about this to them as well, if you haven't already. There are good times ahead who will be, how shall one call it, two storms are waging at the same time. You have the dark storm, if you will, that will wreck everything, and you have like the storm of light, the silver storm, the white storm, whatever you want to call it. and in its wake, trees pop out of the ground and children are laughing and giggling at sparkling rivers, to put it as such. And we will be eating very well because we have good women on our side who will look after our tummies. And that is also very important. The point being, to be brave. That is the cure in the wake of evil. Bravery is the cure of evil in many ways. And with that said, I'm gonna go on my walk. I just wanted to share this because I care. I care about my people. I do. And half of them happen to be women. So there you go. And with that said, you all have a good one. Be bold, be vigilant, and talk to you soon. Bye bye.